Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. And tonight's Raw was from the PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And tonight was Raw's go-home show for SummerSlam, which is this Sunday. And I gotta say, tonight's Raw, I thought it was a decent show. Wasn't a great show by any means. I mean, the first hour I thought was decent. The second hour was pretty abysmal. Yes, it was pretty abysmal, hour two. And the third hour I thought was solid. But to me, Raw was a decent show. As for a go-home show, it wasn't that great of a go-home show. It didn't get me hyped for Raw's side, for Raw's hype of SummerSlam. Although SmackDown did a little job hyping up, SummerSlam on their side. But to be honest, the SummerSlam this build for SummerSlam this year has been one of the worst builds, in my opinion. Like I said, SmackDown did little, not a whole lot, little for their hype for SummerSlam. But to me, this has been one of the worst builds for SummerSlam this year. And get ready, guys, because SummerSlam is going to be 6 hours long this Sunday. If you count the kickoff show, which starts at 5. So the kickoff show is like 2 hours. So it's from 5 to 7. At 7 o'clock, you have your main show. So if you count the kickoff, that starts at 5. And the show will probably end at like midnight. So there you go. 6 hours there. So get your coffee mugs ready. Your coffee glass. Your Keurig. Make some coffee because we're all going to be in for a long show on Sunday. So that's SummerSlam on Sunday. So let's get started with the review, with the Raw review. So Raw opened up tonight with them, saluting, tributing to the tragedies that happened this past weekend in El Paso, Texas, and Dayton, Ohio. If you've been following the news, you all know what happened down there in both of those cities. So they had the roster on the stage. They did the 10-bell salute. So we had that. And then we went to a Raw intro, which it's been a while since we saw an intro for Raw. God knows when the last time we saw a Raw intro to get us hyped up. But hopefully they keep this Raw intro, and it's not a one-time thing, because we've been getting no intros for both Raw and SmackDown for quite a while. After the WWE intro with the Then, Now, and Forever is over, we get no intro for both shows. We just get Michael Cole on Raw going, "Welcome to Monday Night Raw." Same thing for SmackDown Live. We have Tom Phillips going, "Welcome to SmackDown Live." We had no intro for both shows for quite a while. So hopefully we get a SmackDown intro tomorrow night. So, but it's been empty with both of these shows not having intros for quite a while, because with the intros, at least you got us a little bit hyped for both shows. So the Raw intro I thought was pretty decent. Then after the intro, we saw Samoa Joe. he was by the commentary desk. He was criticizing Renee Young, Michael Cole, and Corey Graves. He was criticizing them for blaming him for the Roman incident that happened on SmackDown last week, where we saw the scaffolding fall on top of Roman, and we don't know who did it. They were claiming that it was just an accident. It was caused by a forklift. So Corey Graves tries to talk some sense into Joe. Joe wasn't having it. Then we have Michael Cole, say, this is Monday Night Raw. We are live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And, Joe wasn't having it. And Cole ended up saying that a poll says it was not an accident with what happened on SmackDown with Roman. Which, when we think of it, it was like a Scooby-Doo mystery right here. You would have had Scooby, Shaggy, Fred, Velma, Daphne come out, and be like, you have Scooby-Doo there, probably go there and be like, Roro. So that's what it was. It was basically like a Scooby. It was basically like a Scooby, something out of Scooby-Doo. What happened at the end of SmackDown last Tuesday. So Joe says, according to a poll he just conducted, the WWE Universe are idiots. And so Joe demands that they roll the footage from what happened last week. So they roll the footage. Joe pointed out that he's not in the footage, despite that there was more cameras back there. And Joe says he's going to stay here tonight until Roman shows up. He says he's going to shut Raw down. He's going to shut the show down until he gets the apology that he deserves. So he then gets interrupted by Becky Lynch. So Becky made her entrance, and we went to commercial. Then when Raw came back from the commercial, we had the first match. It was a tag team match. It was Becky and Charlotte teaming up to take on Natalya and Trish Stratus. And this was announced earlier in the day today. So we had the tag team match. And, I liked how the way that Charlotte and Trish didn't touch each other at all during the match, which I give WWE credit for. Although, the match really didn't make any sense whatsoever. But the match ended in a disqualification. Natalya had Becky in the sharpshooter. Becky ended up getting to the ropes. The referee was counting to 5. So the ref ended up counting to 5. Natalya wouldn't release Becky from the sharpshooter, so the ref ended up calling for the bell. So Becky Lynch and Charlotte win the match by disqualification. So that was basically what happened. But like I said, I did like how the way that WWE didn't have Charlotte and Trish, touch each other at all during the match. I liked how the way that they ended up holding that off until we get to see them in the ring this Sunday at SummerSlam. So I give credit to WWE for doing that and not letting them have Charlotte and Trish go at it before their match Sunday. Then we had Andrade Cien Almas versus Rey Mysterio. And this was a good match. Anytime Andrade and Mysterio are in the ring, you're expecting a good match from the both of them. And it was really entertaining. Wasn't as good as the match that they had on SmackDown earlier this year. But all in all, good match between the both of them. You had that one point where Mysterio did that, I think he did that sunset flip. He did that sunset flip powerbomb to Andrade, and Andrade went back first and head first into the barricade, which I thought that was pretty cool looking. And then the match, it was back and forth between the both of them. You had one point, Andrade tried to take Ray's mask off once again, but the referee ended up pulling Andrade off of Ray. And you just see Zelina Vega. She ended up delivering a neck snap to Mysterio over the middle rope. And that led to Andrade to take control. And Andrade ended up winning the match. Hammerlock DDT on Mysterio. So with thanks to help from Zelina Vega, Andrade ended up winning the match. But all in all, good match from the both of them. Like I said, anytime these two are in the ring, you're expecting a decent, entertaining, good match from the both of them. Like I said, wasn't as good as the match that they had on SmackDown early in the year, but good match from the both of them. Then we went to the garbage jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 title. We saw video footage of Maria Kanellis and her husband Mike Kanellis. They were hanging out in the waiting room at the OBGYN place, Maria's gynecologist office, which footage was from earlier in the day. So you had Maria, she had the jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 title around her waist. And she gets called into the room. And Raw went to commercial. Then when Raw came back from the commercial, still saw Maria at the OBGYN office. Maria demanded that Mike Kanellis show her some testosterone and help her defend her jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 title. So Mike ends up sweet talking Maria, and he leans on Maria, and the doctor ends up slapping Mike's back a few times, and it is revealed that the doctor is referee Jessica Carr, who referees down in NXT, and Mike ends up leaning on Maria, and because of that, referee Jessica Carr counts to 3. Mike Kanellis wins the 24/7 championship, and then after that, we see Mike comes out of the office. He ends up celebrating in the waiting room, and R-Truth reveals himself. He wears a wig, which I thought was funny. R-Truth claims that his water broke, and it goes to show that R-Truth was pregnant. Was pretending to be pregnant, and that's what he says. He was claiming his water broke, and he ends up throwing a doll at Mike. So Jessica Carr arrives, the referee. R-Truth rolls up Mike Kanellis, and R-Truth ends up gaining back the jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 championship. So you go, R-Truth once again, 24/7 champion. Please, can we get the 24/7 bullshit off of TV and just keep it to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram? Please keep this title off of TV. And I said it before. Stick this title on social media. When it comes on TV, it's a fucking mess. Get this Jobber Ninja Turtle title off of fucking TV. Sorry about that, but I was saying, keep this Jobber Ninja Turtle title on social media and keep it off of fucking TV, please. This title, in my opinion, also needs to be fucking retired. It does. Then after that, we had Charlie Caruso. She was interviewing Becky Lynch. Becky says she hopes Natalya has advantage in Canada and that she should bring her whole family so she could disappoint them. She ends up saying that she fought and won for all of her prominences and she's not walking around like a good girl hoping not to be fired. She ends up saying while she was changing this business, Natalya was changing her bikini on reality TV, referencing Total Divas. And Becky ends up saying that she's the one thing Natalya's career is missing. And she's going to give her people a new hero, which is herself, Becky. That was the interview with Becky. And then after that, we went to Sarah Schreiber. Sarah Schreiber, she was interviewing Natalya. Natalya ends up talking about how she's going to tap Becky Lynch out and that she won't tap even if her arm is broken. She ends up saying the sharpshooter tonight is just a taste of how she's going to end Becky's career. That was the interview with Natalya. So we had both Becky and Natalya do an interview. Then Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman came out. Paul Heyman gets on the mic, introduces himself like always, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. We all know that. And he says that Brock Lesnar wants him to educate us by, way of a few questions. Heyman says, wasn't Seth Rollins supposed to be the Beast Slayer, the Conqueror's Conquer, the one man that had Lesnar's number, the architect of the arson that would burn down Suplex City? And he's like, the big hero for the new generation of the WWE Universe? Seth frickin' Rollins? And Paul Heyman ends up rolling footage of last week when Brock destroyed Seth Rollins last week on Raw, where he ended up F5ing Seth into the back of the chair, and Seth was bleeding from his mouth. And of course, when Seth was put in the ambulance, Lesnar ended up going to the back. He ended up stopping the ambulance from going, and Lesnar ended up going to the back of the ambulance, dragging out Seth, who was on the gurney. And we saw, Lesnar end up F5ing Seth on the gurney, which happened backstage last week. So we had that footage, all that footage played again. And Paul Heyman says he dropped to his knees last week and begged Brock Lesnar to show mercy on Seth, because he knew in his heart that what WWE needs is a hero. He says tonight, after the beating that Rollins suffered, he says that Seth is here in Pittsburgh. He says this proves that Seth has more balls than brains. And so Seth Rollins ended up coming out. He was hobbling out. He had a chair in hand. He was on his way to the ring, still hobbling after, what happened last week. And once again, Brock Lesnar manhandled Seth Rollins once again. Second week in a row. Seth got into the ring, and he gets kicked again by Brock Lesnar. Brock ends up whacking Seth with the chair. Brock ends up ramming Seth into the turnbuckles. Beat down on Seth from Brock. Referees, trying to stop Brock from doing more damage to Seth. Brock end up F5ing Seth once again. Second week in a row, Brock manhandles Seth Rollins once again. And, there's all of these. There was this report that WWE is trying to make Seth Rollins cool again. And I kind of said, after, he lost that Universal Championship to Brock Lesnar, Seth's momentum has been going downhill. It's a shell of what Seth was from, if you go back to last year, when the crowd was really behind Seth. And now this year, you take a look at where Seth is now, and pretty big difference from what the reaction that he got last year. So after the beatdown by Brock, Raw went to commercial. Then when Raw came back from the commercial, we saw referees were helping Seth Rollins. And Seth ends up sitting up. He didn't want treatment. And Seth ends up cutting a horrible promo, in my opinion. This was horrible. So Seth ends up grabbing a mic. He ends up saying that it's gotten to the point where he has to ask himself if all of this is worth it. He says, you love something so much, you do anything to keep it safe. Even if that thing keeps you getting beat to a pulp inside and out, week after week. And for him, he says, the answer is yes. Seth ends up saying, this is all he is. Every second of every day. All he's ever wanted. And all he's got. He goes on to say he'll be at SummerSlam on Sunday. And he'll beat Brock Lesnar. He says he guarantees it. And we see him leave the ring. Again, he refuses treatment from WWE doctors, the referees. In my opinion, the promo that he cut was fucking horrible. It was terrible. If you go back and watch it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It was cringe just listening to that. Terrible. So then after that, we went backstage. We saw Kurt Angle was being interviewed. Yes, Kurt Angle was here tonight. He was in, it's his hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And turns out that he's going to be the special guest referee for the match between Cedric Alexander and Drew McIntyre. And he was getting an interview. He was having an interview. And he gets interrupted by the Street Profits. Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins. They introduce themselves. And they asked Kurt for some help getting a drink. And they pulled 2 red cups out of a cooler. And, also a carton of milk. Referencing from back in the day with, the whole, Kurt Angle loving his milk. He came out with the milk truck, 2001. Sprayed the Alliance and Stone Cold. And Kurt ends up telling them that he promised his wife he wouldn't do anything crazy. And Montez Ford asks if he's Kurt Angle, if he's really Kurt Angle, or Mike Kanellis. And Kurt Angle relents, and he does some milk with the boys, and they're just having fun. And Drew McIntyre's there. McIntyre says he's got a friendly reminder for Kurt Angle about what happened last time they were in the ring together. And he demands that he call it straight down the middle tonight. And he talks about how he humiliated Kurt Angle. And pretty much that was basically what happened. So Kurt Angle is going to be the special guest referee for Cedric Alexander versus Drew McIntyre. Then we had the War Raiders versus Locals, Eric Abraham and Jay Alexander. You all know what the War Raiders are. You know how this match goes. War Raiders win it. Viking Experience. There you go. War Raiders end up winning. Moving on. Then we have Kurt Angle. He made his entrance to be the special guest referee. Crowd was chanting, "You suck," along to his theme music, as always. So, Kurt Angle gets in the ring. Cedric Alexander's music hits. Cedric comes out. And as Cedric made his way out, Drew McIntyre blindsides him before the bell could ring, because the match didn't get underway. Bell never rang, and it was just a brawl between McIntyre and Alexander. So they were brawling around ringside. Cedric blocks the Alabama Slam that McIntyre was going to hit him with, and Cedric Alexander ends up hitting a tornado DDT on the ramp to McIntyre. Then the lights go out. The lights go down. And, of course, Bray Wyatt, he's the Fiend. He was showing the ring, and he uses the mandible claw on Kurt Angle. So, when he used the mandible claw, Kurt Angle ended up passing out. And it just, went to black. We hear Bray Wyatt's laugh. So, it's official. I guess Bray Wyatt's now using Mick Foley's or Mankind's mandible claw. So, that was pretty cool to see. And I like seeing seeing this Fiend, Bray Wyatt, on TV. Hopefully they keep up the pace and not screw it up with Bray Wyatt. So it seems that he's going to be keeping that mandible claw. With Kevin Owens having the stunner, looks like Bray Wyatt's going to be keeping the mandible claw. And I think this is a good decision. And it looks like Bray Wyatt could be a modern Mankind, which is cool. So let's see where it goes with Bray Wyatt as it progresses. Of course, we're gonna get Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt at SummerSlam this Sunday, which is gonna be interesting to see. So hopefully it's Balor and Bray Wyatt just as the Fiend, with the mask on. Because I heard rumors saying that the Demon might not, Finn Balor as a Demon, he might not do the Demon at SummerSlam, but who knows? The reports may be wrong, or it's just a rumor. But we'll see what happens on Sunday. Will Finn come out as the Demon on Sunday? Just have to wait and see. So then we had the OC versus the New Day. Luke Gallows, he ended up coming out with face paint. He had face paint on him. He looked really cool. And the match ended in a no contest because when the bell rang, we just had the three of them, Gallows, Anderson, Styles. They ended up being down on Xavier and Big E. So the match ended in a no contest. Then Ricochet came out. He ended up taking out all the OC. And then, guys, I'm hearing something. 6-man tag. 6-man tag. 6-man tag. Oh, did you say a 6-man tag is going to happen? Then if you said that, yes, a 6-man tag happened. So when Raw came back from the commercial, we had a 6-man tag. OC versus the New Day and Ricochet. And sorry about that, but I was saying we had a 6-man tag. OC versus the New Day and Ricochet. And I'd say it was a decent match. It was back and forth between them. Ricochet, very entertaining here. As always, he has his match coming up with AJ Styles on Sunday for the United States Championship. It was rematch against Styles on Sunday. And the match ended with the OC. They ended up winning. Gallows and Anderson ended up hitting the Magic Killer on Xavier Woods. So the OC ends up winning the match. But all in all, it was a decent match between the both of them. I mean, by these tag teams, by the OC and the New Day and Ricochet. Then we had Samoa Joe. He ended up coming out. Joe ends up calling out Roman Reigns, saying that he knows about, Island Time. But he says, this is ridiculous. And since he's near, he's had a chance to come down, get in the ring, and apologize to him. He says he'll play it Roman's way. And we see Joe gets out of the ring, throws a chair into the ring. Joe gets back in the ring, unfolds the chair, takes a seat. He ends up saying Raw is officially shut down until Roman walks down here and apologizes in person. Joe says he's going to give Roman until the count of 3. So he ends up counting. He gets to 3. Joe ends up telling Roman all he has to do is walk down the aisle, unless he's scared to. He says he's got all day, and it will keep us here all night. And he accuses Roman of being too much of a coward to come down and apologize to him. So we heard the Pittsburgh crowd chanting for CM Punk, and Joe goes and talks to a guy, I guess he was a tech, to confirm that Roman is in the arena. And Joe says he's a little impatient. So if Roman's in the parking lot, he's going to go greet his ass. So we saw the camera ends up following Joe into the parking lot. He calls Roman out. We see a car pull up. And Joe ends up saying that he's been waiting all night. Roman gets out of the car. They bicker, both him and Joe. And another car comes zooming and blindsides Roman's car. So they try to hit Roman when he was still in the car. And we don't know, it's not revealed who did it, who rammed into the car that Roman was in. Once again, more Scooby-Doo with this whole mystery. Well, yeah, where's the mystery machine? The mystery machine should have been there. Playing more of this whole Scooby-Doo game with Roman Reigns on who is doing this to Roman. So when Raw came from the commercial, we saw more footage of who possibly hit Roman. So the car ended up speeding away, and Joe was checking on Roman. He ends up calling for a medic, for medics to come and check on Roman. I'm like, it's weird. Joe is now trying to help Roman, so he ends up calling the medic for Roman when the both of them hate each other, and they went at it. And then we see Triple H. He ended up checking on Roman. So that was the little footage that we saw. Then we had a Fatal 4-Way elimination match for the Women's Tag Team Championships. So it was Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross versus Kairi Sane, Asuka, the Kabuki Warriors, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, Fire and Desire, and the Iconics, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. And the match itself, it was okay. You had the Iconics get eliminated first. So when they got eliminated first, we knew that they dropped that WWE was dropping them as the Women's Tag Team Championships. Yeah, the Women's Tag Team Champions. So yeah, the Iconics were eliminated first. Mandy Rose ended up pinning Billie Kay. And then it was down to Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, Kairi Sane, Asuka, and Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. So Sonya and Mandy were the next to get eliminated. Asuka ended up locking in the Asuka lock on Mandy Rose. Mandy ended up tapping out. So Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose end up getting eliminated. So it was now down to the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, and Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. So, it looked like they were making us think that they were going to put the tag team titles, the women's tag team titles, on Asuka and Kairi Sane. Everybody was thinking, oh, WWE, they may finally put the titles on Asuka and Kairi. But unfortunately, WWE, they love, Alexa Bliss. So they made Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross win the titles. And what happened? Alexa Bliss ended up hitting Twisted Bliss to Kairi Sane. Alexa ended up pinning Kairi Sane. And there you go. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross win the match. And they are the new Women's Tag Team Champions. There you go. Should have been Kairi Sane and Asuka. I think that, would have been better. But I knew that the Iconics weren't going to be the Women's Tag Team Champions for a while. They held those titles since winning them at WrestleMania. And I have to say, their reign, the Iconics' reign as the Women's Tag Team, as them being the Women's Tag Team Champions, it was pretty terrible. And, I like the Iconics, but their old title reign, ever since winning them at WrestleMania, was pretty terrible. It was fucking terrible. So let's see what Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross bring to the for the bring to the women's tag team titles. And that was pretty much the main event. So then we went to MizTV. Miz came out. He introduced his guest, who was Shawn Michaels, good old HBK. And Dolph Ziggler came out, of course. Dolph Ziggler, he got on the mic. He says he'd rather be a Pharaoh than one of these two ass kissers. He says he's been stealing shows and carrying the company on his back for the last decade, and that he's the best thing to happen to wrestling since Shawn Michaels lost his smile. So he ends up saying, you want to talk about legends with him? He's the only one here. And he says if Miz thinks for 1 second he can beat him at SummerSlam, good luck. And Dolph says when he wins at SummerSlam, he'll finally get the adulation he deserves as a living, breathing legend. So we had the Miz fire back. He ends up saying it's got to be on Dolph. And if he's still not where he wants to be, and he says he can't wait to get his hands on Dolph next Monday on Raw. So there we go. That match is set in stone for next week. We're going to see The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. Like, that's exciting. He ends up saying Dolph looks a little confused. He says, well, Dolph didn't read the fine print. And he says the guy that Dolph is wrestling, he says, the guy Dolph's wrestling may not have many SummerSlam moments left. So he says the contract isn't for Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz. He says it's Dolph versus someone else. So we see Dolph and Shawn Michaels square up. Shawn Michaels ends up saying to Dolph that it's not him that Dolph is going to be taking on. So Dolph is looking confused. And Shawn Michaels goes, you're going to be versing this man. And we heard chants of Goldberg, and there you go. Goldberg came out. It was revealed that SummerSlam it's going to be Dolph Ziggler versus Goldberg. So Goldberg ends up coming out, and I knew pretty much that this was happening. I knew that Goldberg was going to be Dolph's opponent because I read an article stating that WWE was setting up Goldberg versus Dolph Ziggler at SummerSlam. And the only reason why they're doing this is because they want us to forget that Goldberg, had the match at Super Showdown in Saudi Arabia against The Undertaker. And, to not let that be, Goldberg's, last match because, that match was fucking terrible at Super Showdown between Goldberg and The Undertaker. So they end up bringing Goldberg in to re-idolize himself after that terrible match. So Goldberg came out. He gets in the ring. Dolph ends up retreating out of the ring, wanting nothing to do with Goldberg. So Goldberg ends up signing the contract, gets on the mic, and he says, Dolph Ziggler, you're next. And then we see Dolph turn around. Shawn Michaels then delivers the Sweet Chin music to Dolph, and then Raw went off the air. So that was basically what happened. So we got the match set for Sunday. Dolph versus Goldberg. So there you go. That was Raw tonight. Which I said, Raw was a decent show. Wasn't perfect, but it was decent. And for a go-home show, wasn't that good of a go-home show. to get us hyped for SummerSlam. But yeah, so anyways, that's it for my review of Monday Night Raw. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And until next video, which possibly be the SmackDown review. So, until that video, I'll see you all later.